Hi, everybody. This is Marilyn. Um, do we have any audio for this? I know we have no charts. Hi. Okay, thanks. Hello, everybody. This is Marilyn, and it is time for the noon edition of Welcome to My World. This is the 7th of April, which is a Thursday. And yes, I have no charts up right now, but I'm trying to get these loaded. Um, and Ninja says it's running and running and running, so we'll see. Um, Today, these uh, these markets have certainly had a tendency to sell off, and all four of the indices are down. It looks like they're all doing just about the same thing. Maybe TF is a little less so than the others. But if anybody was watching bonds this morning, my goodness, what a wonderful, wonderful day in bonds. They just took off about the open or so and have never looked back. Uh, I'm sure that depends a little bit on uh, what size bars you're using. I personally prefer 6. I think Lori likes 4. And some people have said they prefer 8. So you just kind of have to look at that. But um, when you have a trend in bonds, they're very, very nice to trade. And when you don't, they're very, very, very naughty. So it's you have to be a little discerning about what days you're going to trade them or what trades you're going to take. Crude oil is sold off a little bit today. It got very exuberantly happy yesterday. And Canadian dollar has gone right along with crude oil. If you watch those two together, they certainly do trade closely. And of course, when you have a day like this where everything else is down, the one that's on their way up is gold. So that's a typical day. We've got the VIX coming up a little bit as these markets tend to sell off. So right now it's trading about 15.5. Um, we'll see if it what it does tomorrow and next week will probably tell us a little more. They're releasing the minutes. The FOMAC minutes were released yesterday, and they're releasing the minutes from the European central banks uh, today, I believe. And I think it'll be in the afternoon. So, and Mrs. Yellen is going to speak again this afternoon at some function. So that may or may not do anything positively for the markets tomorrow. Anyway, I noticed that a lot of people have been having some issues with loading charts and the times and what have you. So I wanted to give you a couple of hints on that. It has helped me a little bit this morning. I've been dealing with this all morning long, but I'm using a different toolkit, so sometimes that really does have something to do with it when you're testing some of the newer stuff. Of course, that's why the pre-beta people suffer through this, so we don't release it, and then everybody else has to go through all this. But there are a couple things that will really help you, and one is to make it an absolute habit every single solitary time you make the slightest change on one chart. I don't care if you change a color. I don't care if you take one something off that you've decided that it's in your way and you don't use it. Whatever, I don't care how small that change is. As soon as that's taken care of, go immediately to file, save, and save that workspace every single time, because if you don't, you will not realize it. This is the voice of experience speaking here. And do a couple of other things, and one of those little things just freaks the whole thing out. And then you'll have to shut down, and when you bring it back up, of course, the workspace can't remember anything because you didn't tell it to save. So every single time you change anything, and every single day before you close your NinjaTrader, before you close that workspace out, save it. You don't have to give it a new name, just save workspace. And that will hold those changes on there for you, so that if you do have to forcibly shut down Ninja for some reason, or you just forget and close up, you've made a whole bunch of changes and you close up your NinjaTrader the next day, of course it forgot everything you tried to save. So be sure and do that. The other thing I will tell you is really helpful with this is, for every workspace, once you have the workspace set the way you want it, then save that workspace and then hit the thing that says here, well, no, I can't even move my control center. The one that says save as, and name it the same thing, and after that put duplicate. So now you have basically the workspace you use and a duplicate workspace saved. So if you're on one or the other, you can always go back to that duplicate. I can't tell you how many times that has saved me from rebuilding an entire workspace with 14 charts and 5 domes and all this stuff on it. So I hope that helps somebody. And another thing, somebody mentioned, I think Dan was having a problem. Yes, with the market analyzer. Yes, that thing's just wonderful as long as it works. The market analyzer is really helpful. The downside to that is it takes a lot of computer resources, and it is really sucking the juice out of your computer. So if you have a slow computer in the first place, or a slow internet, or whatever, it's not that you can't use it, but you need to limit the number of instruments you put on that thing to just what you use, instead of, I think some people have tried to go in there and put on every single futures known to mankind, plus some Forex pairs, plus some other stuff. Just limit it to what you need, or make one specific for each workspace. And then when you close the workspace and open it, it'll come up with just what is applicable to that particular workspace. So, because that, if you try to put everything on that, I can promise you it's going to cause you a problem. So just use what you need and nothing more. And I think that's about it for the news tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. And for our time frame, it's 8:15 and 8:30 is Canadian news. It's the Canadian unemployment change in their unemployment rate. That likely can affect the Canadian dollar, and it may have a little something to do with crude oil also. There is also economic numbers coming at 2, 2:45, 3:15, and 4:30 a.m. from Europe. So if you trade in those time zones, be aware. Check those economic news release times. So, anyway, I think that's about it. I I clearly am going to have to shut my Ninja down and bring it back up again because this hasn't loaded yet. But anyway, I hope you all had a wonderful morning because this was a nice trending morning. We don't get that every day, but it sure would be nice if we did. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow. This has been my view from my world in Apex Land, brought to you by Apex Investing. I'll see you tomorrow about noon. Thanks.